Okay, so sometimes this is part 2 of our transformations of functions. Some transformations aren't coming from the parent function. So what you're looking at is not from the original function, from the basic function. So you have to look at where you are coming from and not from the parent function. So we know by looking at this that it is an absolute value function. Absolute value function. Those lines tell us absolute value function. We are going from the absolute value of x plus 1 to the function g of x, which is the absolute value of x plus 4. In front of the absolute value would be our a. Included in the absolute value would be our h. And behind the absolute value would be our k. We don't have anything for a, we don't have anything for k, but we do have something for h. So what happened to h? Well, it went from positive 1 here to positive 4. How many units is that difference? How many units? What is the difference between positive 1 and positive 4? 3 units. Now we got to determine how it moved. Well, h is the one that's a little odd. Remember, if it's positive, it actually moves it to the left, and you would think that would mean negative. So we moved it 3 units to the left. Let's do another one. This is a function, f of x equals x plus 2. This should be a common function. This should be something you know because it's linear. Think of y equals mx plus b. Okay? And we are moving it to the function g of x equals x plus 8. So our a is in front. We have no a. Our h would be included in parentheses. We have no h. And the 8 here is our k. So we only have a k. Remember, the k moves it up and down. So how did this move? Well, what is the difference between positive 2 and positive 8? How many units did it move? How many units from 2 to 8? 6. We moved it 6 units up. 6 units up. Let's do another one. This is the function f of x equals x squared minus 5. X squared tells us what kind of function it is. It's a quadratic. So let's look at what we're moving it to. We're moving it to g of x, the function g of x. A would be in front. We don't have an a. H would be included in a parentheses of some sort. And then we have a k of negative 3. So we moved the k, made it move how? What is the difference between negative 5 and negative 3? Well, let's look at that on a graph. If we have negative 5, this graph is the up and down. Sorry. If we have negative 5 and we moved it up to negative 3, negative 5 minus a negative 3, the difference is going to be minus 2. The minus tells us that it goes down, so we moved it down 2 units. Okay? Take the difference from this k here to this k here. What is the difference? Let's do one more. First, we have to think about what kind of function this is. This is a quadratic. A cubic, sorry. Okay, and then we have a, which is 0 here. X minus 3. This is included in, so that's our h cubed plus k. And we don't have anything there, so it's a 0. And we are moving that to the function g of x, where our a is 0. Do we have anything in our parentheses? No. So it's nothing. That's our h. But our k is moved by 1. So we had two things that changed. Our h changed and our k changed. So let's look at the h first. Remember, it's the opposite of what you think. So we went from -3 to 0. -3 minus 0 is -3. Negative means we're going to move to the right 3 units. Okay? How did our k change? Well, we went from no k to plus 1k. Sorry. I'm going to set up. We went from no k to 1k. Hold on, my thing's glitching. Okay, maybe I got it fixed. So we know this is quadratic. Sorry, cubic. I've done that twice now. There was no change in a. The h went from -3 to 0. And -3 means you're going to move it to the right. And then the change in k is 1 to 0. So we went from 0 to up 1. So we moved it 1 unit up. So remember, this is your quadratic. This is your absolute value. Sorry. Quadratic. This is your absolute value, where you're going to find the a, h, and k. This is your square root. This is your cubic. The a is in front. The h is included. And the k is on the back end. So now let's do it backwards. Let's write the function from what they tell us. So in this one, we want to write the function given the transformations. Square root function that is reflected over the x-axis. So that's our a. reflected over the x-axis, and shifted right. That's our h. And how much did it go up and down? We have nothing for the k. So, square root. There's our parent function for the square root. We reflected it over the x-axis, so that's our a in front. We made it negative. That reflects it over the x-axis. And we shifted it right. That's our h. So you would think plus, but because h is backwards, it would be minus 3. So our g of x would equal negative square root of x minus 3. Let's do another one. Write the function. A quadratic function, so I'm thinking x squared automatically, that is vertically stretched by a factor of 4. That's our a. So we put 4 in for the a. And is shifted 2 units down. Well, that's not left or right, so we don't have an h, but that's the k. Minus 2. 2 units down. Remember, h is the only one that's backward. K is what it says, so down is minus, up is positive on the k. Let's do another one. Write the function given the transformation. A cubic function, so g of x equals x cubed, that is reflected over the x-axis. Reflected over the x-axis. That gives me negative. Okay? That's our a. Our h is our left and right. So it's reflected right 3 units. So that would be negative 3 cubed. Remember, it's the cubic function. That's our h. And then down 5 units. So minus 5. So, transformations of functions. Pause and write this down again. We've already went over this. Which transformation will map the function f of x to g of x? So we want to go from blue to green. So we flipped it and made it negative. That's automatically going to cut out C and D because we know that it's negative. And then once we flipped it, we moved it 1, 2, 3 units to the left. So that's going to be a positive 3. And that was our h, right? So that would be our answer. And I think we have time for 2 more. Which transformation will map the blue function to the green function? So we're going from the absolute value function to this green function. So did we stretch it, make it larger, or make it smaller? Well, our slope went from 2 up 1 over 1 to up 1 over 2. So it got smaller. Our slope got smaller. So that marks off C and D. And then we moved it up by 3. So our answer is B. And I think I have time for 1 more before it cuts me off. This is an actual TN ready question, and I've only got a few seconds. I want you to pause this and email me what you think the answer is. KablerM@gcssd.org.